Namaste. If you ask me if I'm an introvert, I would say, no, I'm not an introvert. Then I must be an extrovert, right? Nope, I'm not an extrovert either. Then what am I? Is there another label that I belong to? I don't know. Maybe I'm both at the same time. And maybe you are too. Let me explain. Western psychology likes to label everything and then put you in a box, literally a mental box. There are these words we throw around like they explain a whole human being. Introvert, extrovert. And right now, you probably picked one of those labels for yourself. Stick with me because I want to shed some light on this kind of lightweight thinking. And I want to take you somewhere deeper into Vedic wisdom, into Jyotish specifically. In Jyotish, Vedic astrology, nobody is fully an introvert. Nobody is fully an extrovert. I guarantee you, if you look closer with real awareness, you will find that you are kind of reserved in one area of your life and completely outgoing in another area of your life. For example, maybe at work, you are quiet and reserved, and you don't really talk much at work. But with your closest friends, you don't stop talking. In one relationship, you disappear into yourself. In another situation, you're the loudest person in the room. You know exactly what I mean. Today, I want to give you that insight, if I may. Not the two-dimensional personality labels. Not just one label for your whole personality, but a map of where sometimes you naturally pull inward, and sometimes where you naturally push outward. And that map in Vedic astrology is called Rahu and Ketu. You see, I did a video on Rahu last week, but this one is about Ketu, because where you're extroverted and where you are introverted in this life is in your birth chart. It's not a personality quiz. It depends on where your Rahu and Ketu sit in your chart. So if you stick with me, today we go deep into Ketu in Vedic astrology. Let me tell you where Rahu and Ketu actually come from. Real briefly, because this is important for you, so you can understand their nature and you can understand the rest of the story. So in the old stories, in our Puranas, you've got these two forces constantly fighting for control of the universe. The Devas, the gods, and on the other side we have Asuras, the demons, always at odds, always pulling against each other. But there's this one moment in time where they decided to stop fighting, because they both want the same thing. They both want something called Amrita, the nectar of immortality. Both sides want to live forever, and neither side can get it alone, because it's sitting at the bottom of the cosmic ocean of milk, and the only way to bring it up is to churn that entire ocean using Mount Mandara as a churning rod. And the serpent Vasuki as the rope. They take both sides, pull together, like you would churn butter out of milk. Gods on one end, and demons on the other end. And so for once, they decide to cooperate. They churn for what feels like forever. And then poison comes up first. Shiva drinks it to save everyone. And then treasures and gems come up. And finally, the nectar. And that's exactly when the cooperation between the two of them ends. You see, one demon called Swarbhanu, he sees his chance and he slips into the side of the gods and starts drinking the nectar before anyone notices. Nobody noticed it, but the sun and the moon noticed it. And the sun and the moon, they informed Lord Vishnu about it. Vishnu being the sustainer, the one holding the whole balance of the universe together. Vishnu uses his lethal weapon called the Sudarshan Chakra, and he cuts the head of the demon clean off his shoulders. But you see, the nectar of immortality had already done its work. The demon drank some, and so the severed head was already immortal. And that head is Rahu in Vedic astrology. And the body had swallowed enough of that nectar, and it also couldn't die. That headless body is called Ketu in Vedic astrology. Now here's what I really want you to feel. I want you to feel this, not just listen to this. feel what Rahu and Ketu feels. Rahu is a head with no body. Just imagine that. And because the head is the ego, never-ending want for things, never-ending craving, all ambition and nothing underneath it to ever satisfy it. No stomach, no hands, no legs. And so, Rahu is eternally frustrated because Rahu can dream of anything. Rahu can chase anything. But Rahu can never actually hold it. That's the frustration of Rahu. Endless appetite. No way to ever feel complete, feel full. Ketu is the opposite frustration, because Ketu is a body with no head. Ketu has no face to show the world. Ketu has no voice to ask for what it needs. Ketu has no real identity, no name attached to any of it. Ketu is egoless. But Ketu already has the wisdom. And now he walks through this world unable to even explain what he knows. No head to express it. Ketu's frustration isn't hunger. Ketu is brilliant at some things and have no mouth to tell anyone. You see people like that. And maybe you can see it in yourself. You see people who are naturally gifted at something and shrugs it off like it's nothing. That's Ketu. Someone who can, say, sing or play music like they just remembered it. They didn't learn it. They can naturally do it, but they're not really interested in taking it further. Now that's not humility that they're showing there. That's the headless body. That's Ketu. And that talent is from a previous life, but not his purpose in this life. His perfect purpose in this life is where Rahu sits. And this is why I mentioned that we are introverted in one area and extroverted in another area of our life. Always. We're not one or the other. We are both in different areas of our lives. So let's get into Ketu in Vedic astrology. So what does Ketu actually govern in a birth chart? Ketu governs moksha, first and above everything else. Moksha, liberation. And I'm not talking about, liberation from a bad situation. I'm talking about liberation from form itself. I'm talking about liberation from the whole cycle of wanting and getting and wanting and getting and wanting again and again. Ketu is a spiritual planet most associated with the part of you that already suspects that there's something beyond all this striving. Ketu is past life mastery, skills, instincts, and knowledge that came with you. You did not earn it in this life, which is exactly why they don't feel valuable to you, because you didn't earn it. We tend to only respect what gave us hardship, what cost us something. Ketu is also detachment. And I'm talking real detachment. The kind that lets you hold something without needing to hold on to it. Ketu is also isolation. Ketu placement often comes with a real pull toward solitude. It's not loneliness necessarily, solitude, which is a comfort being away from people. And sometimes people mistake that for coldness. Ketu is occult. Ketu is mystical and the unexplained. And then the harder side of Ketu, or if your Ketu is weak, then it's confusion. A sense of the ground that you're standing on being shaky, not very solid. Let's go through the houses. Houses that Ketu sits on. 12 houses, 12 areas of life, and what it means when Ketu sits on each one. Ketu in the first house. Ketu in the first house can feel like never understanding or living one's own identity. A pull toward spiritual seeking that starts at a very young age. Ketu in the second house. Ketu in the second house is a strange relationship with money, a strange relationship with family, struggle with identity, and struggle with resources sometimes. And by that, I don't mean poverty. Sometimes just a genuine lack of concern for accumulating things. Or a family identity that never fit properly. Ketu in the third house. Ketu in the third house means less appetite for effort, no desire to assert yourself, but sharp intuition. Somebody that knows things before it happens. Ketu in the fourth house. In the fourth house, Ketu is emotionally distant from home, or emotionally distant from the mother. Literal distance sometimes, maybe even like moving away at a young age. A restlessness with domestic life, even when the home itself is quite stable. Ketu in the fifth house. Ketu in the fifth house is past life mastery in the mind, mastery in creativity, sometimes in children. Some people with this placement had children easily in past lives, and now they find that that area is kind of confusing and delayed in this life. Ketu in the sixth house. Ooh, an almost eerie immunity to conflict. It's like an unsettling calmness when facing arguments. Unsettling calmness when in fights or in tense situations where most people would be feeling stressed. Ketu in the seventh house. Ketu in the seventh house is detachment inside partnership. Marriages that feel less like a choice and more like something that was already written for you. Marriages with a sense of familiarity, and neither person can explain why. Ketu in the eighth house. This is one of Ketu's most powerful houses. Deep occult ability, closeness to death and transformation, often with psychic abilities. People with this placement tend to understand endings better than most people. Ketu in the ninth house. Ketu in the ninth house means an unconventional relationship with faith and religion. Sometimes walking away from the religion that you were raised in, and then sometimes followed by a guru or a teaching that comes into your life by accident, but exactly at the right moment. Ketu in the 10th house. Ketu in the 10th house. Uncertainty, a mixed feeling about career and reputation. This is a hard one because a person can achieve real success in the eyes of the world and still feel almost nothing about it within. Hollow, even when the work is doing good. Ketu in the 11th house. Ketu in the 11th house is detachment from gains, detachment from personal goals, detachment from the social circle. You don't really care about what other people are chasing, which can look like being above it all, but it's genuinely a disinterest. Ketu in the 12th house. Ketu in the 12th house, the most classically spiritual placement Ketu can hold. A natural pull toward moksha, liberation, a pull toward foreign lands, a natural pull toward solitude. Ashrams over offices. This is a house of endings, of what's already behind you. That's Ketu in all 12 houses. Now, if you noticed, it's got the same underlying pattern in every one of them, every one of those houses. Wherever Ketu sits, there's a part of you that you already know how to let go. Which, of course, sounds like a gift, and often it is. But it only feels that way. It only feels good once you stop mistaking letting go for loss. Now, the question everyone actually wants answered when it comes to Ketu. Is a strong Ketu good? And is a weak Ketu bad? A well-placed Ketu, a well-supported Ketu, shows up as a beautiful intuition, spiritual gifts that appear early without much effort. And it gets stronger when you stop fighting it. That's a strong Ketu. But a weak Ketu or afflicted Ketu shows up differently. Confusion about identity or direction, a feeling of not knowing who you are. Sometimes grief in life with no clear choice. A health issue that is undetectable. When it comes to a strong Ketu and a weak Ketu, here's what you need to keep in mind. Detachment and numbness can look identical from the outside. You see, both involve someone who doesn't react the way that you'd expect. But detachment comes from understanding. Numbness comes from overwhelm. Now I want to talk about the two afflictions or two doshas that people ask about when Ketu comes up. The first affliction, dosha, is Kala Sarpa dosha. We already walked through Kala Sarpa dosha in the Rahu video before this video. And you might want to watch that video after this one. The second affliction is Pitru dosha, and this one belongs more to Ketu than to Rahu. Pitru dosha. Pitru dosha is ancestral karma. It's unresolved patterns from the family line showing up as obstructions in your current life, showing up as delays that repeat, goals that stops right before completion, a sense that something you didn't create and it's still haunting you. That's Pitru dosha, or your ancestral karma. The remedy for ancestral karma is pretty straightforward. Honoring ancestors, or we call it Pitru Tarpanam. Keeping the family spoken about and remembered and respected instead of buried silence. And a very powerful practice to burn your ancestral karma is to feed people in need, particularly on new moon days, which is when your ancestral energy is considered closest. I want to bring this back to my own chart for a moment so that you know how Ketu feels experientially. My Rahu sits in Pisces in my 6th house, which means Ketu always sitting exactly opposite. Sits in Virgo. Ketu sits in Virgo in my 12th house. The 12th house is the house of endings. The 12th house is the house of moksha itself. Virgo is a sign of refinement, of service, of getting the details right. Ketu in Virgo in the 12th house is about as spiritually direct a placement in a chart. It's the placement that says, part of me already knows this whole striving game ends one day, for sure. And the other part of me has been practicing letting go of this my entire life. That 12th house pull is something I feel constantly underneath everything else I build. I felt it in the businesses. I feel it in the readings that I do. I feel it in the writings. There's a part of me that already halfway is out the door. I used to think that was a flaw of some kind. But now I understand it's just my Ketu. So here's what I actually want you to take from all of this. Somewhere in your own chart, there is a Ketu. A place where you're already gifted, you're already fluent, experienced, mastered, already done with the lessons. And chances are that you don't value it because it came too easy to feel that you earned it. Rahu will always be louder because it's designed to be louder. Rahu, it's the hunger, the future, the thing that not yet experienced. So Ketu sits behind you. And if you want to know exactly where your Ketu is sitting and what it's already been doing for you or to you, I can show you in a birth chart reading. The link is in my profile, or just send me a message and ask. So here's the last thing I want to leave you with. Rahu is the story you are still writing. Ketu is the story you already lived in your past life. And the whole point of a birth chart, the whole point of any of this is learning to read both halves of your birth chart, your Rahu and your Ketu. I'm Jyoti Shakti, and thank you for watching, and namaste.